So, as mentioned, after knight e5, he's threatening hg. So, I took. Seems legit. When someone is threatening you, you want to avoid the threat with tempo, and capturing is a tempo. So now it's my move. I had to decide between queen h5 and queen e2, two moves that I kind of liked. I eventually thought queen e2 was better, because after queen h5 I saw this nice idea of queen a5, threatening knight d3 check and grabbing my queen, and it's very difficult to avoid this check. I don't see how actually how to do it properly. So yeah, I saw this queen a5 idea and I decided to ask myself, like I do with in the streams with Hutch. I actually do it since I was very young. What is his threat? If it was his move, knight c4. He wants to exchange the knight for the bishop, or maybe take on b2. Knight c4 is kind of a threat, so I just developed the queen while preventing his threat. Okay, he played b5. Let's see how much we were thinking. So queen e2 I played after 1 minute, and he thought 20 minutes and played b5. And while he was thinking, I was actually calculating, but it was not still, even though I was thinking for the past 20 minutes mainly about this move, I was still very unsure about how to proceed, because if I go f4, he has knight c4, and then it's not so easy to prove anything. And well, the move I obviously want to play is castle, but then I have to see b4, and I should also be able to see what happens after a move like let's say knight c4, for example. I consider bishop b7 as well. So these were the three moves I had to calculate, and I sensed like there is something I like to call the critical position in the opening, sometimes also in the middle game. So up until now, all my moves were pretty straightforward, and even though every position is critical if you make mistakes, but I feel like I didn't need to think for a long time. So I usually like in the opening to think longer for one move in the first phase of the game, let's say the first 20-25 moves. So I take one long think when I decide the moment is critical. And this was the moment that I recognized, and I told myself, once again, what is his threat? Knight c4. Obviously what I want to do is castling, so first thing I do is spend as many efforts as possible calculating the forced lines here. So I started with b4. If I go knight a4, which is the obvious typical move, I calculated queen a5. b3, I saw bishop d7, and I wasn't too sure, because it starts to become complicated. So I told myself I will go here later in my mind, because I couldn't find anything direct. If f4, you can either take or go with the knight somewhere like here. In both cases I don't see anything too direct, so I told myself knight a4 is possible, but I mean, I'm leading in development. He needs 1, 2, 3, 4 moves to just keep up with what I already have achieved from the development point of view. And I also have my rook on an open file, so technically he needs 5 moves to get the same level of activity. So, as I like to say, when all my pieces are developed and his aren't, it's a good idea to search for a blow. And there is another principle in chess, that when someone hits you on the wing, you want to hit them immediately in the center, and vice versa. So after b4, the typical move that jumps to my head is f4, to immediately strike in the center as a response to his strike on the wing. So now I'm obviously threatening fe. If he doesn't take, then it's going to be very bad for him, because the knight doesn't really have a square. If he goes here, then now I have different options, but the one that I like the most is probably knight a4. And now after queen a5, I think I can just take here. And now knight c6 will allow knight b6 with tempo. At least, I mean, I might have something better, but it's good enough. I like to see something simple before I decide it's good enough, and I will calculate deeper if we get the position. So here I told myself it's good enough. I'm happy with the position after knight ec6, and yeah, told myself maybe I will play. So what else can he do? B takes e3 seems like the main idea. Fe, and once again he can take here, he can take here. Can probably avoid taking altogether with queen a5. I calculated these 3 different moves. So if he takes, I will go with the typical move king b1, so this pawn can be a shelter for my king. If he takes either now on the previous move, I have knight takes e6 with a discovered attack on the queen, so my position should be very, very winning with this king completely open and all my pieces attacking him. I hope if you don't agree, you can check it for yourself without the engine. And this was my conclusion here. And queen a5 was the last critical move I had to check. And here I saw that a relatively simple and forced line. I take. If he just takes, then it's not very convincing. I think it's just gonna be good for me. I can go knight b3 maybe. In the worst case, I think e5 probably the most straightforward. Yeah, this is the move I looked at. And now e5, queen takes a2. I saw it in the other move order, so both are transposing to each other. ed, let's say queen a2, threatening mate in 1. I take here. Bishop d6, e5, bishop a3, king d2. And now, after this forced variation, I have 2 very, very serious threats. One is to take the rook, and if the rook moves, I can go rook a1, followed by rook b1 and trap his queen, and I'm completely winning. So I decided that I'm going for it. f4 is a good move. So castles b4 has been solved. I had to just calculate 2 more moves, 2 more candidate moves. Knight c4. At this point I already made up my mind that I'm probably going to play castles because b4 is the critical one, but still I wanted to verify I'm not ruining anything if he goes here. So after knight c4 I wasn't 100% convinced that I'm, let's say, winning or anything close to it, but I felt that I should be better for sure after e5, at least. I could also play something like f4 and maybe have e5 later followed by f5, or even f5 immediately. In any case, all of these moves are very tempting, and let me just show this variation here. And yeah, I think now f4, and it's extremely difficult for black to make a move. If bishop b7, I'll have some queen h5 ideas later, or f5 immediately actually. I'm going to blast open the center with my lead in development, and f5 is just a huge threat. I don't think he has much to do against it, so I was very happy at this point. And if he takes, he gets rid of my good bishop, but he also got rid of his only active piece, and I will be like with 5 pieces participating in the game when he technically has only 2 or even less. So I was very happy with knight c4. Last but not least was bishop b7, and now I saw that even though I wasted the tempo with queen e2, with the bishop no longer on c8 protecting it, it justifies playing another move with the queen, jumping to h5, pinning the f pawn, threatening knight e6. And again, he has no time to play b4 because now I take, and after queen d7 I have different options, but the simplest one is knight d5, because now I don't have to even calculate anymore. If queen e6, I have knight c7 check, f e6 is still illegal, and if he ever takes on d5, I take with the pawn, as the knight will stay here forever, and obviously completely winning. So after queen h5 I'm threatening knight e6. My opponent played queen d7, and now I played the last move of the game, bishop h3, attacking e6 once again, which is very difficult to defend. I think the only move to defend it is something like king d8 or so, but it's already completely lost because all my pieces are in the game, and all of his king is in the center, which is open, so he didn't even bother playing king d8. In this position he chose to resign, and first of all, it's very sportsmanlike from my opponent, so I have to say thank you, because not many people are able to resign on time. and in a way it shows respect because I don't have many chances to create miniatures, which are wins under 20 moves, and by resigning here, he kind of granted me a very nice privilege, which is to play my variation and achieve such a nice and short and elegant outcome, let's call it. And I was waiting for a very long time to have a chance to play this new favorite line of mine, this h4. And yeah, I'm very happy about getting the chance to play it after all this time. So I think I came up with it together with two ChessJuice members around December last year, 2016. And since then, all of them got to play it except for me. And yeah, I'm very excited about it. Finally, I get to play my own line. And since that game, since we invented it, actually a lot of strong players decided to try it for themselves. Just to mention a few titled players. So first of all, the ChessJuice members, which are Nitzan Steinberg played it in Gibraltar, Ori Kobo played it I think in Budapest, then Omer Reshev played it in Budapest. Later on, Daniel Naroditsky played it in the US Championship and even mentioned me in the interview with Maurice Ashley. And then Nepomniachtchi also played it against Boris Gelfand in the Blitz now, in Zurich Chess Challenge. Vladimir Fedosiev used it in this tournament one day ago in the morning and got a very nice win. And another strong player from France, I'm not sure if he's an international master or a grandmaster already, but he's very strong. His name is Bilal Belassine, young talented player from France, played it more than once already with good results. And I'm very excited because it's the first time that the line that I come up with actually how can I phrase it, receives so much attention and suddenly becomes fashionable, yeah, being embraced by so many top players and so on. And it's a very fresh attempt against the Najdorf. It's not necessarily winning, of course, but I'm very glad. And I just to imagine that like 4 months ago, this idea from the professional point of view, it didn't exist, and it was just all in my brain, together with the other two members. And from the moment we played it, we kind of released this gift to the world. I'm not sure what kind of gift it is, but yeah, I'm feeling very good about having received my chance to play it. And I'm actually going to do a series where I will analyze H4 related games in this variation and see the different subtleties of the positions. Even the blitz game between Nepomniachtchi and Gelfand was surprisingly high level, despite being just a blitz. Both of them are incredibly strong in fast time controls. So I'll make a series out of it. I predict that in the coming weeks or months, many more strong players will try it. And then, like most fashionable tries, it will fade away because people will find the most computerish lines. But until then, we added another try against the Najdorf, and this is always a blessing. So I hope you enjoyed seeing me demonstrating my fortunate attempt at my own novelty, and I hope it will inspire you to play such ridiculous moves yourself and be aggressive in your own games. And feel free to suggest another name for the line if you have something more catchy than the ChessJuice variation. But I really like that name. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed my comments, or at least learned something from them. And if you want to learn some more, then keep watching the next videos.